Your friends split your part of the bill again tonight. You've had a rough year, Megan says, already waving off your card, and two of the people at this table currently feeling sorry for you paid their rent into your bank account 4 days ago through an LLC that doesn't have your name anywhere a renter would think to look. Every landlord anyone has ever complained about has a face they picture: a cigar, a gold watch, a man who never answers his phone. Yours drives a Civic with 240,000 miles on it, and once let this exact table spot him $11 for parking. This is 7 deeds, from the first duplex you could barely afford to the night your best friend calls the landlord a criminal to your face without knowing whose breadbasket he's currently passing. Level 1, the duplex, renting a room from yourself. You are 27, and you have not bought the first round at a bar in 4 years. Not because you're broke. Broke is a costume, and you've been sewing it since you were 21. A duplex, on a block nobody at this table has ever been driven through. 2 units under one roof and one working furnace between them. You move into the smaller unit, and a stranger named Gary moves into the bigger one. The mortgage, the insurance, and a company you named after your childhood dog all live in the same folder now. And because the auto pay comes labeled with the company's name, your own phone congratulates you every month for paying rent to yourself. You are, as far as your banking app is concerned, your own landlord and your own tenant, and you cannot tell a single person why that notification is the funniest thing you own. It just is every month when the transfer clears and your phone tells you that you have paid your rent on time again. The car is the same car, the jacket is the same jacket. At dinner that Friday, the table decides you must be having a hard year and covers your $18 without asking. You let them. You've started calling it privately the pity invoice, the bill they hand you because they think you can't cover your share, itemized in your head down to the last dollar you didn't need. What none of them clock: the real tenant, a graduate student named Theo who found the listing online and has never once seen your face outside a lease signing, covers 60% of your mortgage on his own. You are already living cheaper than the friend who just paid for your salad. The gap opens right here at the smallest deed on the ladder. It does not close again. Level 2, the fourplex, the meeting where you're just a neighbor. A fourplex, 11 months of hunting for the right price, financed on paper by the rent from the duplex, plus everything you didn't spend on rounds you didn't buy. You don't live in this one. You manage it the way you've started managing everything, quietly, by email, under a name that isn't quite a company yet, just an address and an account. The building holds its first tenants meeting about a broken gate latch, and you go, not as the landlord, as the owner's rep, a phrase you invented on the drive over because the owner felt like too much to say out loud to 3 strangers in a laundry room. You sit on a folding chair between a retired mailman and a woman with a very opinionated dog, and you listen to 40 minutes of complaints about the landlord, cheap, slow, never around, while the landlord takes notes on his phone and nods along like the concerned neighbor he's pretending to be. You fix the gate that week. Nobody in that laundry room ever learns who fixed it, or that the person taking their complaints most seriously was the person the complaints were about. You have just found a skill you didn't know you had, sitting in a room absorbing exactly what people think of you without correcting one word of it. You will need this skill again soon, somewhere it costs a great deal more than a gate latch. Level 3, the month the furnace wins. 2 things happen at once, the way they always seem to. The graduate student stops paying rent, a bad breakup, then a worse semester, then silence. The same month, the fourplex's 40-year-old furnace dies in the coldest week of the year at 1 a.m. in a text from the mailman that just says no heat, unit 3. You are, by any legal definition, the landlord, a word people say with a curled lip, and for the first time, you find out what the word actually costs. The furnace, $9,000, cash, gone in 4 business days. The unpaid rent, 2 months and counting, plus the slow paperwork of an eviction. which nobody warns you feels less like winning and more like performing a very long, very sad ceremony that no one wants to attend, including you. This is the year's entire margin, every dollar you'd set aside toward the next deed, spent on a machine nobody sees and a process nobody enjoys. You don't tell your friends any of this, obviously, because telling them would mean explaining what a unit is and to whom and since when. At dinner, when someone asks if you're okay because you've gone quiet, you say you're just tired from work. True. And also, nothing at all. You do the math on walking away with what's left at 2 in the morning, 3 separate times, on a phone that also happens to have Theo's overdue notice sitting in the same app. You don't sell. You rebuild the reserve fund instead, cut your own spending somewhere nobody will notice, and keep both units. It is the least fun decision on this entire ladder, and the one that makes every level after it possible. The next level doesn't feel like recovery. It feels like your friends handing you a key to a building you already own. Level 4, the building on Ashland, your friend's rent, your account. An actual apartment building. 14 units, bought through a holding company with a name so boring nobody has ever asked about it twice. 6 weeks after closing, your friend Marcus texts the group chat that he finally found a place. Insane deal, right by the train. Landlord seems chill so far. And attaches a photo of a building you walked through with an inspector 11 days earlier. You say nothing in the chat. You wait 4 days, then you check the new tenant deposits the way other people check sports scores, and there it is. Marcus's name, first month plus deposit, landing in an account that has never once been mentioned at a single dinner. You now collect your friend's rent every month. He has no idea. He complains about it mildly, the way everyone complains about rent. It's basically my whole paycheck, he says, over food. You are both, in a sense, splitting the cost of, and you nod and agree that rent is criminal these days, which is, again, technically true. For a while, this is the funniest secret you've ever kept. Then it starts to feel like something else. Alone, at 3 in the morning. When it lands that there is now a person in your life you are financially connected to in a way neither of you can ever say out loud at a dinner table. That feeling has a name, and it isn't funny at all. It shows up properly at the next level. Level 5, the housewarming, the loneliest room you own. Marcus throws a housewarming in the apartment you own. You go, obviously, he's your friend, and declining would require a reason you can't give. You stand in a unit you personally signed off on the paint color for, holding a beer you paid for at a store, in a room you technically pay to heat, while 8 people you love talk about how lucky Marcus got with this building. Good management, quiet neighbors, a landlord who actually fixes things instead of ghosting for 3 months like the last one. They are describing you warmly as a stranger. Nobody in this room can know you own the walls they're leaning against, and there is no version of correcting that which doesn't detonate something. Not a lie exactly, more a working arrangement that has run quietly for years, the kind of thing that isn't a betrayal until the exact moment it's discovered, and then it's the only thing anyone can talk about. You laugh at the right places, you compliment the couch, you leave a little early, and in the elevator alone, the one you personally approved the maintenance contract for, you feel something you didn't expect at this level of the ladder. With this much money finally working the way you always hoped it would, you feel completely by yourself in it. Every level before this one had someone else briefly in on the secret. A tenant, an inspector, a bank. This level has no one. Just you, in a hallway you own, in a life your closest friends are describing, back to you as if it belongs to somebody else. You go home, you don't tell anyone, you never do. That's the part nobody warns you costs something, not the money. Something quieter. It doesn't get easier from here. It gets busier instead. Level 6, the group chat, approving your own roast. The elevator in Marcus's building breaks on a Thursday. By Friday morning, there are 2 group chats discussing it, and you are technically in both. In the first, property management, a contractor, an invoice. You approve an $8,000 repair from your phone at 7:14 in the morning between sips of coffee because a 14-unit building with a broken elevator and an elderly tenant on the fourth floor isn't a decision you get to sleep on. In the second, your actual friends, Marcus is typing in all caps that the greedy landlord hasn't said a word in 2 full days, and everyone knows these property companies just sit on repairs to save money, and someone adds a laughing emoji, and someone else says landlords are all the same. You, sitting in the building's own parking lot, having just left the site visit for the repair you already paid for, type, "That's so annoying, that's illegal, right?" Marcus says he's thinking about writing a review. At dinner that Sunday, he brings it up again, louder, a little proud of his own outrage, calling your management company a bunch of slumlords to your face over a shared appetizer, while the repair crew you hired is, at that exact moment, 3 floors above his empty apartment installing a new motor. You say that's rough, man. You mean it, kind of. It is rough. Paying $8,000 this week to be called a slumlord by someone eating food you're not letting him pay for. You don't correct him. You never correct him. You've gotten so good at this that a small, ugly part of you wonders if you're even upset or just taking very detailed mental notes for later. There's one more slip left in this story. It doesn't come from you. Level 7, the slip. It happens at the building, not at dinner, which is the only reason it doesn't end everything. You're doing a walkthrough of the new elevator motor, the one Marcus is still mad about, when you run into him in the lobby, home early, groceries in hand. At the exact moment a contractor comes down the stairs, sees you, and says, loudly, cheerfully, the way contractors say things, "Hey boss, motor's done, want to sign off?" Marcus looks at the contractor, then at you, then at the clipboard in your hand. For roughly 2 seconds, nobody in that lobby says anything, and it is the longest 2 seconds of this entire 7-level story. Then you say, fast and flat, already moving, "I do some consulting for the management company, small world," and you sign something you didn't need to sign, and you leave before your face can do anything you'd have to explain later. It works. Barely. Marcus tells the story at the next dinner as the weirdest coincidence. How you apparently know people at his building's management company. Small world, right? The table laughs. Nobody at it will ever be closer to the truth than they were in that lobby for those 2 seconds, and none of them know it. You go home that night and sit with how close that was and how little you actually felt in the moment and what that might mean about who you've become somewhere between the duplex and the 14 units. You don't land on an answer. You just know you're not selling the building and you're not telling Marcus, and both of those are apparently just true about you now. The next Friday, the check comes to a table of 6. Someone reaches for it before you can. "You've had a rough year, we've got this one." And this time the someone is Marcus, paying for a dinner with money that, 4 days from now, minus a management fee neither of you will ever discuss, lands back in your account as rent. You let him. You always let them. The pity invoice one more time, paid for in the end, with money you're about to collect back anyway. Most people who try any version of this lose money before they make any. Most first-time landlords sell within 5 years, furnace bill and all. This isn't a blueprint. It's one version of a story that could just as easily have ended in level 3 with the furnace. But here's the question. Back at that housewarming, standing in Marcus's living room, listening to him praise a landlord he didn't know was you, would you have told him? Right there, beer in hand? Drop your answer in the comments. The best one gets built into the next video. Speaking of next time, you win the lottery on a Friday. And Monday morning, 8:57 a.m., you go to work anyway. See you there.